¿Quieres mejorar tu pronunciación y tu comprensión al mismo tiempo? That's what we're going to do right now, because there's something fundamental about the way Spanish is spoken that most learners never really learn about. As a result, they struggle to sound natural even when they are pronouncing things correctly, and they struggle to understand authentic spoken Spanish. Let's start with an example. It's from an interview with the Mexican actor Diego Luna. Listen to how he says this phrase.
Contemplarte una realidad paralela a la tuya que te permita una realidad paralela a la tuya, una realidad paralela a la tuya.
Una realidad paralela a la tuya. Notice that he doesn't say paralela a la tuya with a pause, nor does he say paralela a la tuya with the A dragged out, the second A. Instead, he completely skips that second A. So it's almost like the phrase is broken up like this. Paralela la tuya. What's happening here is something that happens all the time in Spanish. Words connect. And if you dedicate some time to learn this and practice this, your Spanish is going to sound a lot more natural, and you will understand native speakers a whole lot better. Let's analyze some more examples so that you can apply them to your Spanish. By the way, I have a pronunciation guide where I talk about this and other tricks for speaking better Spanish. You can download it for free at the link in the description box below. The first way to connect words in Spanish makes Spanish sound really fast to the untrained ear. Let's listen to an example.
¿Qué está diciendo? ¿Qué está diciendo?
So what's happening here? When one word ends in a vowel and the next one starts with a vowel, the two words tend to connect. And if it's the same vowel in both words, it ends up sounding like just a dragged out version of the one vowel or shrunken down to one single vowel. So practice this phrase aloud with me and make sure not to put a pause between the vowels. So not ¿qué está diciendo? ¿Qué está diciendo? And a little bit faster, ¿qué está diciendo? Because this happens, a phrase like te echo de menos, I miss you, can end up sounding like te echo de menos, te echo de menos.
Malú, te echo de menos, te echo de menos.
The most important part really is just to not put that pause between your vowels like we tend to do in English. So not te echo de menos, te echo de menos. That makes your Spanish sound really choppy. Instead, just bring those two E's together. Te echo de menos. Te echo de menos. You can do this anytime you have two E's or two A's or two O's together. So practice this phrase aloud with me. Te echo de menos. Here's another example.
Nunca he estado mejor. Nunca he estado mejor. Nunca he estado mejor.
Notice how the first three words in this phrase all sound like they are one long word. Nunca he estado. Nunca he estado. That's because, of course, the H is silent. The two vowels, a, e, come together, and the two E's get reduced into one short e. Nunca he, nunca he. Instead of nunca he estado, you get nunca he estado. So let's practice this one two ways. First, with the two vowels pronounced, but all together. Repeat after me. Nunca he estado mejor. Now let's try it with reducing that second e until it sounds a little bit more like the recording that we heard.
Nunca he estado mejor.
Nunca he estado mejor. I think it's important to pause here and answer a question that a lot of students in my pronunciation course have asked me, and that is this something informal, this connecting of words? And the answer is no, it really isn't. You know, connecting words is something that happens in all contexts in Spanish because it's just the most natural way to speak. There are reductions that happen in casual speech, but that's kind of a topic for another video. I would love to know, have you noticed any reductions in Spanish speech, or have there been things that you've misunderstood because of this kind of linking topic that we're talking about? Let me know in the comments below. The next really common way to connect words is really important to understand because it has not only a big impact on your pronunciation, but also on your comprehension. Let's listen to an example.
Los amigos son la familia que se escoge. Los amigos son la familia que se escoge.
So what's happening here? When one word ends in a consonant and the next one begins with a vowel, the two words tend to connect. And not only do they connect, but the consonant, in this case an S, tends to move to the next syllable. So that's why we get los amigos los amigos and not los amigos. Los amigos. This might sound like a really nitpicky small thing, but trust me, it makes a really big difference. If you think about the number of S's that happen in Spanish at the end of words in particular, this is really worth practicing. And all together, it makes a big impact on the way that your Spanish sounds and the way that you understand. So practice this phrase aloud with me. It's going to combine S's, and it's also going to combine two E's, like we saw earlier in this video. Los amigos son la familia que se escoge. Because of all this, we can end up with phrases that look different and have different meanings but sound identical. For example, unas salas and unas alas, or no se espera and no se espera, no se espera, no se espera. For today, practice noticing this and repeating it where possible in the Spanish that you listen to. And if you want to keep practicing your pronunciation, this video will teach you 5 things that I've done to improve mine.